So many of you guys know that constitutional carry has not passed yet in Florida over the past few years when it should have passed, being that we have a pro-gun governor, supermajority in the House and the Congress. There's no reason why it shouldn't have passed. But a bill was just submitted yesterday, HB 543, and I personally believe 2023 is the year that Florida becomes a 26th state in the union to be constitutional carry. But before we go any further, I want to go ahead and put the bill up on the screen so that way you guys can read along with me. It's a very short, sweet, to the point bill. I personally like it. There's some questions that I still have, but I believe that they will be hashed out between now and March 7th when the bill is taken up in committee. So let's go ahead and read the bill. Like I said, it is Bill HB 543, Concealed Carry of Weapons and Firearms Without a License. It was submitted by Brannon and Payne. The bill goes like this. Concealed carry of weapons and firearms without a license authorizes persons to conceal carry a weapon or a firearm if he or she is licensed to do so and meets specified requirements. Requires person who is carrying concealed weapon or concealed firearm without license to carry identification, and that is big. You must carry your identification with you at all times. And display upon demand by law enforcement. Prohibits person who is carrying concealed weapon or concealed firearm without license from carrying such weapon or firearm in specified locations. Authorizes non-residents, and this is big in my opinion. I like this part. Authorizes non-resident to carry concealed weapon or concealed firearm in the state if he or she meets same requirements as the resident. Provides persons authorized to carry concealed weapon or concealed firearm without license is subject to specified penalties for possessing such weapons or firearm at school-sponsored event or on school property. Now, if it is passed and it is signed by DeSantis, it will go into effect on July 1st. But before we get to that point, both sides are going to meet up in Tallahassee over the next couple of weeks because March 7th is when this permitless carry bill makes it to session. Many of you guys know that Ron DeSantis is under a microscope right now because over the past few years, over the past 4 years, going on 5 years now, there have been multiple bills, constitutional carry bills that have come and have gone, and they've never made it to his desk, and that's quite disappointing, I guess is a good way of saying it, because these bills have died under his leadership. Now here we go again, and the reason why I say that is because Florida once again has a supermajority. We can pass any bill we want, make it to DeSantis' desk for him to sign. We have the ability to make stuff happen, but the same rhinos that held office in the previous years are the same rhinos that are in office this year. The same rhinos that brought the Douglas Stoneman bill, you know, the one with all the red flag glory that bill brought. So again, if this bill is going to make it to DeSantis' desk, it's got to go through those rhinos, and hopefully it makes it to DeSantis' desk this year. Now, with all that being said, I do want you guys to finish watching the rest of this video, but don't forget, now is the time that we need to be calling our representatives. We need to be communicating with our representatives. I don't care if you call them, if you write them, if you email them, if you mail them, snail mail, hell, you can send them smoke signals. I don't care, but now is the time that you need to call your representatives and let them know that you support this constitutional carry bill making its way to DeSantis' desk, so that way he can sign it and make the year 2023 the year that Florida becomes a 26th state to be constitutional carry state. And I'll make it a little bit easier for you guys in case you don't know who your reps are, or in case you don't know how to contact your reps. I'll go ahead and throw those links down below. That way you guys can figure out who your reps are. That way you guys can share those links with others and they can do the same thing. They can contact their reps and let them know that they support this bill making it to DeSantis' desk. Now, before we go any further, I want to take you guys back in time. Go back a couple months to November when Charlie Crist thought he can actually beat Ron DeSantis for the governor's seat here in Florida. And we all know how that turned out. Charlie Crist was obliterated by Ron DeSantis. It was just an absolute knockout. It was beautiful in my opinion. But with that performance, many are now speculating whether or not Ron DeSantis is going to throw his hat in for the presidency one day soon. I personally believe he will. I don't know if it's going to be this go around or perhaps he's going to wait his turn and go the next go around. But I can tell you that I'm going to hate to see him leave. the state of Florida, but I am gonna love to see him run the greatest and freest country in the world. I believe that Ron DeSantis does have aspirations of becoming the president one day soon, and signing or not signing this bill is gonna have a huge effect on whether or not he is successful at running for presidency. Now hear me out. If you are for constitutional carry and Ron DeSantis does not sign this bill, that's going to affect whether or not you vote for him, and vice versa. If you are for constitutional carry and perhaps your state already has constitutional carry and Ron DeSantis does sign this bill, that is going to have an effect on whether or not you vote for him or you don't vote for him if he ever decides to run for president. This will be, whether he likes it or not, this will be a huge test for DeSantis if he decides to run for the White House in the future. Now let's move on to when the bill was actually submitted. We had House Speaker Paul Renner. He was present with the co-sponsors, and there were quite a few comments that were made that are worth noting. First, Paul Renner, the House Speaker, he noted that it's a constitutional carry bill that rids the need of a government permission slip, which I could not agree more. Right? In other words, it's a permitless carry bill. It doesn't change anybody whether they are prohibited or not, and it simply just says as long as you're not a prohibited person in Florida, then you don't have to get a permission slip from the government to exercise constitutional carry, which is the way it should be.
Central to the idea of freedom is the right that we can defend ourselves against physical attack, as well as defend those that we love.
Permitless constitutional carry basically means that law-abiding citizens don't have to go through a permit process anymore. So many of our citizens are seeing the lag time of waiting 9, 10, a year, months to get it. And so what this does is makes it where law-abiding citizens don't have to go through the permit process.
This is a situation where we're going to allow those citizens that are honest to avoid the bureaucracy that comes when you're trying to get a permit.
Criminals don't go get a permit. They don't care if they follow the law or not. Our citizens deserve the right to protect themselves at all times.
I can tell you that there's overwhelming support amongst the sheriffs for this particular piece of legislation.
We, as Florida sheriffs, stand solidly behind this, and we stand behind the oath that we took to protect the United States Constitution and the Constitution of the state of Florida.
Paul also mentioned that we should expect more legislation on this topic in the coming weeks. No specifics, except to say that he wants to further crack down on gun-related crimes, as well as open up the rights for law-abiding citizens. So there's many questions that I have, and I'm hoping they get all those squared away in the coming weeks. But at least they're on the right track to getting constitutional carry passed here in Florida. Also in attendance was Brevard County Sheriff Wayne Ivey, and you might have heard that name before because he does have YouTube videos that he puts out where he rides along with his sheriffs, and he goes out there out in the field with his sheriffs every now and then. But you've also might have seen him in one of my YouTube videos. We happened to be at a gun show, I believe it was in Melbourne, and there was a huge crowd in one part of the gun show, so of course, naturally, Preston and I, we wandered our way over there, and it happened to be Brevard County Sheriff Wayne Ivey. That guy is an absolute legend in Brevard County.
I think she's wonderful.
Sure. Thank you, man.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you.
How you doing?
You say
I like
hi?
that shirt.
Say hi.
I like that shirt.
Really?
And he says this about constitutional carry. This bill is an important piece of legislation for our citizens to have the ability to protect themselves. Criminals don't go get a permit. Florida sheriffs stand solidly behind this bill. Couldn't have said it better. Couldn't have said it better myself, Sheriff. Wow, words are tough today. And having the support of the sheriffs is very monumental in getting this bill passed, because if the local sheriffs here in Florida don't support the bill, that's the very first thing that the rhinos are going to say when the bill comes to their desk. They're going to say, look, the sheriffs don't support it, so how am I supposed to support this bill? And then they're not going to support this bill, and they're going to try to do what they did the past 4 years, just stall and let the bill die in committee and not let it make it to DeSantis' desk. But with the sheriffs coming out and saying that they support this bill, it makes it that much tougher for the rhinos to not support the bill. It's very, 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 very important to note that this bill does not change who can carry a gun and who cannot carry a gun, right? It does not change who can carry a gun and who cannot carry a gun. Here's what Representative Chuck Brannon said who is a sponsor of the bill, he said this bill will not change who can and who cannot carry a gun. People do not have to carry if they don't want to. This is a constitutional right people have. Criminals are getting guns anyways, and they don't care what the law says. We're only giving law-abiding citizens a simple way to get a firearm. It's only fitting that citizens of the freest state in the nation be given the right to constitutional carry. Now, one of the things that are very uncertain right now, at least for me, I haven't seen anything come out yet, and I'm sure they'll work out the details in the future, but one of the things that's concerning to me is what about the millions of concealed weapon licenses, the concealed licenses that we have currently in the state of Florida? Will they still be considered active? Can we still use those for reciprocity when we go to another state? Can we still use those to bypass the 3-day or 10-day or whatever day waiting period that currently is out there when you buy a new Freedom Stick, right? I don't know. I haven't seen anything. And I'm going to keep looking because I am very interested to see what happens with all these licenses, and more importantly, can we still use these licenses when we buy a Freedom Stick so we can bypass that mandatory cool-off or waiting period or whatever the hell they call it? Can we still use our active licenses to bypass that waiting period? So you've heard me say this many times before, and I'm going to say it again. Now is the time to be loud. Now is the time to be proud, and now is the time to contact your representatives. And in case you don't know how to get a hold of your representatives, like I said before in the beginning of this video, I'm going to go ahead and drop links down below. That way you guys know who your reps are, and that way you guys can contact your reps. I'll even throw a link in for you to contact DeSantis, and that way you can let all of them know that you support constitutional carry becoming reality here in Florida for this coming year, for 2023. All right, guys, I want to thank you for watching the video to the very end. If you got any value out of this video, if you would do me a favor, if you would go ahead and smash that like button, so that way it helps the algorithm push this video out to more people that are not subscribed. And if you can also subscribe to this channel, that way you guys get notified when I put out future videos. So again, thank you guys for watching this video. I appreciate you. And until next time, stay loud, stay proud, and be active. Take care, guys.